ESPN has signed former NFL MVP Cam Newton. Newton will primarily be a commentator on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Molly Karam. Newton makes his debut on Friday during First Take's HBCU Roadshow at Tennessee State University. This is from a quote from David Roberts, Executive Vice President of ESPN. Cam Newton's edition of First Take brings an electrifying presence, enhancing our roster of top-tier personalities. His dynamic charisma, combined with the high-profile debates alongside Stephen A. Smith, will create compelling, must-watch television for fans. So, a couple pods ago, we had a pretty deep segment about the death of ESPN, the new layoffs that they've had, losing Woj, not necessarily because they laid him off, but losing Woj, losing who's the writer, Zach Lowe, losing Zach Lowe, Max Kellerman even a couple years back. But they have made some signings, so it's not like they've just stayed put and lost talent. Recently they've signed Pat McAfee, that was a very big signing, and now Cam Newton. I just want to get y'all first reactions on this. Is this something that is going to change the trajectory of First Take? Is First Take back?
Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., Matthew McConaughey. I'm trying to think of other. Mark Wahlberg. Putting all them in your movie doesn't make your movie good. Right? So signing all these names to me does not make your movie good. What we're gonna see is a problem, and there was another tweet that I saw earlier. Was like, man, if you are a journalist, specifically a black journalist, you have to take this news extremely hard. There's the reason why that profession exists. I am very much in the belief that professionals should exist. There's a reason why, and sticking these athletes in there all the time to pretty much take over all of it is not going to be a good idea. Let them have their narratives on their platforms. That's the reason why they made it. But these two narrative driven platforms that can't that aren't going to be able to elaborate, articulate, push the envelope, not protect. I'm not even going to say not protect players, but have the vetted the interest of protecting players to the utmost degree. It's not gonna lend to good content, to be honest with you. Let the journalists journalize.
Yeah, we're yeah. Predictions on when people start saying, my bad, I had to cough. Predictions on when Cam did. Oh my God. Third time's the charm. Predictions on when like people start saying, "Oh, Cam sold out," this, that, and the third there. But for me, it wasn't shocking. I'm not gonna lie. Like I found out just now, and I was like, "Oh wow." Not surprised though, because for all the players that are going to do their own podcast, for all the players that are going to go about their own platforms, there's going to be some players, some coaches, whatever, that's like, I'll take the money, I'll take the contract, absolutely. So, am I maybe perhaps shocked that Cam Newton was a name? Perhaps, but like not that much. Somebody was going to do it. Not all of these players were going to build their own individual platform and then stay over there. Somebody was going to take the bigger check. Somebody was going to take maybe something that helps benefit their platform by going to ESPN and then saying, go ahead and watch my channel as well. So none of this really surprises me. You're definitely not getting what is his show called? This is Respect. It's Fourth and something, but is it Fourth and One? Yeah. You're not gonna get the
number one.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the exact same Cam Newton from Fourth and One that you will on First Take, and that's why I say people are gonna say sold out, especially the players. They're gonna be like, "Bro, what the fuck? Why are you saying that shit on there?" But at the end of the day, listen, I'm not shocked.
I don't think I'm definitely not shocked. Well, I'm definitely not shocked because I called something like this happening. I want to say when we had this conversation, I said they're probably going to go the route of getting guys like the Gilbert Arenases. And if I didn't say Cam, I would still allude Cam to being that camp of these people that have these successful platforms on their own, but will take a bag to come and be on ESPN. That's why you're dropping all these guys. So I'm not surprised. Am I surprised it's Cam? A little bit. Because again, I called someone like Gilbert Arenas. I called, someone else, but Cam Newton falls under that umbrella. Not really surprised that they went that route. That's the only route you can go when you take away people with credentials and went to school for it. The only other route is entertainers, celebrities, athletes, or content creators, but we all think that's not going to happen no time soon. So yeah.
I'm about to say that's actually my next question is like the recent signings have all been former athletes. either athletes or like celebrities. So my question to y'all is, what would a content creator even need to do to get offers like this? I understand Kenny is signed by ESPN, numbers on the board. Shout out to them. But I think like they just started showing them on ESPN2 at times this summer, which again, big ups to them. But I'm talking about like prime time, ESPN, Nick Wright, first things first type of opportunities. Like what would it take for a non-athlete content creator to get to that point?
Sorry, but stay in the lane and work up the ranks. Because there's no content creator. There's no content creator that's just going to usurp athletes in terms of sports talk. It's just too easy to either A, find a equally good personality that has also played the game, or B, simply put, the fans that are watching ESPN, that you will always be hard capped at, you never played. What the fuck are you talking about? So at the end of the day, there is a level of gatekeeping there in terms of being able to get that position, let alone being credible once you're in that said position. Your best bet is literally no glaze, but the Kenny route. Just keep working up the ranks slowly but surely. Keep doing your own thing. People take you seriously the more that they see you, because they realize you know what you're talking about. And if you're likable enough, maybe one day you will get that opportunity.
You would have to put out content that is captivating enough that the Boozer twins catch on to it, watch it, and then reference you, want to hang out with you, want to do interviews with you. And then they would have to then become big, successful NBA players, and y'all continue to create content. So then your face is synonymous with their faces. If you don't have a tie to an athlete, I just tweeted that. If you don't have a tie to an athlete at this point, I don't know, you're going to be messed up. And even when we think about what Kenny has done, Kenny has had interviews with athletes before, right? He's done projects and collaborations with, he's done work with athletes before. So if I'm thinking about all the other content creators out there in the landscape, that's why they're not getting the look to me. And not disrespectful to them, Swish Outs, Rusty, my brother, Click, all these other people. It's the added layer that says, hey, you can do something on this level that is professional. And people, when we have the conversations about degree and non-degree, that even though it may not matter to you and somebody else out there has convinced you that it does not matter to you, these companies, these entities have certain thresholds that they consider valuable. And you can buck and tweet and make videos about how unfair it is all you want, but at the end of the day, they're going to set that standard. I think that that's one of the standards for them to see you even get some sort of opportunity is, hey, what works have you done with these other professional entities before we put you on here? How many times have you been on Stephen A's platform like Kenny has been? How many times have you done with JJ Redick or Trey or whoever, or Patrick Williams, whoever else from your local team's organization? Did you do some sort of writing in school for your college's team or whatever the case may be? Did you do any of those things? And if these content creators aren't doing that stuff, I really don't see I don't see why they would pick them up, because there's going to be another player coming down the pipeline. And ESPN has said to us, hey, we're going to sacrifice 5, 10, 15, 10-year journalists in order to get the next quarterback that spent 3 years in the league and came out. We're going to get him. That's what we're going to do.
Before you enjoy the rest of this video, I want to shout out the sponsor of this video, Prize Picks, our personal favorite way to play daily fantasy sports.
Prize Picks is the funnest way that I've been able to make 100 times my money during this basketball season. I just pick 2 or more players, pick more or less, and then I submit my entry.
The WNBA finals start tonight, and let's go ahead and make some picks. Omar, do you think Sabrina Ionescu is going to get more or less than 18 points?
I think she's going to have a game 1 stinker class, so I'm going less.
Nafisa Collier has been going off in these playoffs. Do you think she's going to get more than 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined?
If they want to win, she's got to go all in. I'm taking more.
I think Caitlin McBride is going to have a pretty good game tonight, more than 13 points. That's pretty locked. Let's go ahead and put $15 on that lineup. Click submit lineup, and boom, that is how you make a lineup on Prize Picks.
Go to prizepicks.com and use code LKIAB to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. Remember, that's code LKIAB at prizepicks.com.
Yeah,
I would just say you have to be big enough in terms of what would a content creator need to be do to be in that position. Genuinely just be big enough and be captivating enough to get the attention on the same level with some of these celebrities that they could bring in, or some of these former athletes. I don't think so much of the the 3 year and done quarterbacks, but definitely the tenured ones. If a Ryan Fitzpatrick retire, if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes out, gang, you got your work cut out for you. But it's gonna take some extraordinary circumstances. It's not gonna be something slight.
What's big enough though? Like, can you try to quantify that? I know it'd be hard, but I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, I feel like it's fair. I feel like it's unfair to say as big as Kenny, because that feels crazy because of the work that he did. So it's like, all right, so
that's what's gonna have to take. Though. That's what's gonna have to take.
I'm saying essentially that's what's gonna have to, either that or and I don't think you can be as captivating as a sports content creator. I don't think you can get to the heights of I guess a Kai Cenat or a Speed, something like that. I just don't think you can reach that. You're hard capped at Kenny. So as much as I don't want to say it, genuinely, you have to be as big as Kenny popularity wise with your content, wherever it is. You might not have to be that personality, but definitely that level of creator.
And respectfully, I don't know the conversations he's had, so he might have said that I want to maintain my guys or whatever the case may be. But the one that B-Souls just laid out to be on primetime First Take consistently, you're going to have to be bigger than Kenny. For them to sign you to something like a Shannon Sharp, where I'm sitting across from whatever iteration of Stephen A that they've now made, we'll say it's 10 years from now, you're going to have to end up being bigger than a Kenny. If they're saying ESPN is or First Take is their flagship show, I just don't, I don't know where, ex-NBA player retires and they have the opportunity to pay them or they have the opportunity to pay me. And I just
don't even know what that looks like. Like, what does, and maybe this is glazed, like what do you need to do as a content creator who doesn't have a connection with professional athletes, hasn't played the sport at a professional level? What do you need to do to become bigger than Kenny at this point? And I'm looking at that and like, damn.
I think you may have to
community.
You may have to get famous in some other lane. So like a Kai Cenat, do like the Kai Cenat route, and then just a segment on your show is getting in contact with players and interviewing them, and then just be like, I have this catalog of this work, but I'm more worried about the journalists and stuff like that. Like, people talk about going to school for journalism not being valuable. Gang, I promise you, it ain't gonna happen. You doing it for love and passion at that point.
You're doing it to cap out at like a tier. If ESPN First Take, if that level of shows is tier 1, at this point you're doing it to be at the tier, in my opinion, tier 2, 3, 4 level places doing it professionally. Which again, I said 2, 3, and 4. I mean,
no, my
second tier for me would be, what was that shit that Jason Whitlock was on when he had those conversations or some shit? I feel like that's tier 2, 3-ish.
I was gonna say 2 is probably like a podcast sponsored by Barstool or doing some work for Barstool. You know what I'm saying? Like one of these online publications. And even them, if we got the money, gang, we just gonna sign the Gilbert Arenases or the Patrick Beverleys or.
What about what would you consider like local radio or the local sports shows and shit like that?
That's like 4. That's like 4 or 5.
That's 4. You feel like that's 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can be there.
I think we're playing YouTube's universe. That shit's chopped. If you're not a player, I just think that for shout out to the potential amazing creator that does it. Again, we've mentioned Kenny several times. Shout out to him. That's genuinely some inspiring shit you got going on, bro. But I think ultimately, in terms of ESPN First Take Monday through Friday, that it's just that's such a vast audience that you have to break through just for them to choose a YouTuber, man, a creator, a streamer, who I've even gone and said that's the most disrespected occupation as a hot take. And granted, that may not be accurate, but definitely something that isn't easier to perceive and accept than, I don't know, an NBA player, an NFL player. So I just think it's chopped.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but you'd have to at the very least be like friggin' nice at basketball, because when we're talking about it would have to be a dude that like every single sector of the basketball community would like. So you can't just be like the analytical nerd who knows like fun facts and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to be a guy that the old heads will like, the new guys will like, the athletes will like, the analytical guys will like. You are going to have to be Superman, basketball Superman.
But you know who that would be though? I mean, who could be if they wanted to take that step of that lane. The only two people I could think that could fill that kind of role, or at least start to, will be either a Jimmy High Roller or a Frigga. Because it will take somebody that can actually, in my opinion, it'll take somebody that the Hoopers will look at and actually respect. Because even when it comes to a guy like Skip Stephen A, they will say some out of pocket shit, and you got Jalen Rose on your show talking about how you average 1.2 points as a senior on JV. And then it's like, well, damn. So it will take for a content creator to get that without the experience of the degree, even though I don't know if Frigga graduated from a D3 school, but regardless, Frigga can play ball. Like, he can play ball at least to a decent level to where people would respect him if he did have a take or whatever. It's not like this guy that can't dribble with his left hand and chew gum. Same thing with Jimmy High Roller. Jimmy High Roller can play basketball at a decent enough level for somebody that does take the game seriously, not to look at him like Stephen A or Skip talking reckless or saying something they don't like. But Jimmy don't turn his camera on like that, and Frigga just is comfortable where he's at, and they even have ceilings to their content.
I think for Eli, we can, but I think that when you do these things, because I think there's like different sectors of YouTube that I've consumed, we've all consumed, that have had these, pie in the sky hopes of like reaching these corporate entities or levels or whatever the case may be, and every single time they've been shot down. I think the method is what, and I'm just gonna glaze them up again. What A&P has done is like, you know what? It's probably a better bet for me just to become a personality. 2K disrespected me this whole entire time until they desperately needed it. And now we see where they are. But now, Kai, even Duke or Agent could get more pull at 2K than they probably ever could before. In the sneaker community, it's been the same thing. The sneaker content creators were trying to get some love from Jordan Brand, get access, even if it was just to get shoes early, but some input on stuff, et cetera, never was happening. And then some people started to become personalities and got way more love than they ever got before. And then sports is kind of another one. People were begging for players to recognize us, begging for these bigger entities to recognize us, and time again they're gonna just step over. But the best way, I mean, Drewski got on these platforms before we did, and not necessarily say we, but just Drewski got on these platforms before a lot of these longtime sports creators did, who have been dedicating their lives to knowing ball and showing that they know ball. That's not the way, gang. The way is to become the entertainer.
Yeah, Devin Booker just playing COD with couple phase dudes, like
it's not us.